Hello, boys and girls. We are now on chapter 4 of Horrible Harry in room 2B. And there's only one more chapter after this one. So far, we read about the Halloween party and his stub people. And the next chapter is called Horrible Harry and the Thanksgiving Play. And whenever we read a story, we always look at the picture and try to figure out what's happening, right? So I'm going to put this up so you can see. And we can tell that that's Harry. And he's tied up with a rope or something. So we're going to have to figure out what's going on. Okay? Are we ready for chapter 4? Miss Mackle said that room 2B was putting on a Thanksgiving play for the parents. Some of you will be Pilgrims, some of you will be Indians, and one of you will be Squanto. I want to be Squanto, I said. I want to show the Pilgrims how to plant corn with dead fish bodies. Miss Mackle looked out the window. When she looked back, she said, "Okay, Doug, you can be Squanto." "I want to be the dead fish body," Harry said. Miss Mackle stared at Harry. "You want to be a dead fish in our Thanksgiving play?" Everyone in the class looked at Harry. Harry beamed. "It's an important role. If it wasn't for the dead fish, the Pilgrims wouldn't have been able to fertilize the corn. And if the corn wasn't fertilized, the corn wouldn't have grown, and the Pilgrims would have starved, and you wouldn't have a play about them. So I want to be a dead fish." Harry is silly. "But that's a horrible part to play." "A dead fish?" Miss Mackle said, making a face. Harry flashed his white teeth. "I don't mind." Of course Harry wouldn't mind. Harry loves to do horrible things. At the first practice, Song Lee got sick. All she had to say was, "Life is hard." She was a pilgrim, but she just mumbled. "You have to speak up," Miss Mackle said. Song Lee looked like she was going to cry. "Do you not feel well?" Miss Mackle said. Song Lee shook her head. 10 minutes later, Song Lee went home. Everyone knew why. Song Lee wasn't really sick. She was just too scared to say anything in front of anybody. "Okay, places, everybody," Miss Mackle called. "Pilgrims, you are in the field sowing." And this is spelled S-O-W-I-N-G. And that's different than sewing with like a needle and a thread. This means that you're planting things in the ground. So you're digging holes and you're planting them. That's this sewing. "Squanto, you come in and say your line about helping them plant corn. Pilgrims, you talk amongst yourselves about how hard life is." Everyone did what Miss Mackle said, except Harry. "You wiggle forward when Squanto pulls you on the rope," Miss Mackle said. "I don't feel like wiggling right now," Harry said. "But you have to wiggle a little so Squanto can pull you in," Miss Mackle replied. "You're too heavy." "I'll wiggle a little," Harry grumbled. I could tell Harry wasn't his old self. He didn't feel like being a dead fish. After school, Harry came to my house. He called Song Lee on the phone, and then he talked with her mother. I wondered if Harry's bad mood had something to do with Song Lee's going home. The next day at practice, Song Lee showed up. She whispered something in Miss Mackle's ear. So, that's Doug's house. See, he's getting in the fridge. And there's Horrible Harry, and he's on the phone, and he's calling Song Lee. So let's try to figure out what's happening here. Song Lee is too shy to say any lines in the play. And Harry calls Song Lee. So maybe he's going to be nice. Maybe he's making fun of her. We don't know. We're going to find out. The next day at practice, Song Lee showed up. She whispered something in Miss Mackle's ear. Miss Mackle leaned back against the chalkboard. She looked shocked. Finally, she smiled. "Okay, places, everybody," she called. "Pilgrims, you are in the field sowing. Squanto, you come in with your 2 fish." "2?" I said. "2?" the class said. Miss Mackle cleared her throat. Do you know what that means, to clear your throat? Lainey, do you know what that means? Let me hear you do it. if you go like you're getting ready to say something. Miss Mackle cleared her throat. Song Lee would like to be a dead fish also. The class looked down at Song Lee and Harry. So, do you think maybe Harry felt bad for Song Lee because she was so nervous? And so he said, why don't you be a fish like me? Because then you won't have to talk? Maybe. I looked down. They were lying on the floor, dead, saying nothing. And Song Lee's mother made fishtails and fish fins for them. Isn't that wonderful? I could tell Harry thought it was wonderful. He was playing a dead fish that smiled. Places, everyone, Miss Mackle called again. Everyone did what Miss Mackle said. I said my line real well. And when I got to the part about fertilizing the corn with dead fish, I had a rope around Harry's waist and Song Lee's waist to slide them in. They both wiggled forward, so it was easy. Sometimes Harry's horrible ideas help the class. And so there are the kids, and there they are pulling their dead fish. It's kind of silly, but it's true they did put dead fish on their plants to help fertilize them. Please help us. Oh, and that's the end of the chapter. The next chapter, and it's also the last one, is called Horrible Harry and the Field Trip. So, that was the end of the story for that one. Remember, you can use this for your reading log for Mrs. Dorsey. And you can write any questions that you have on Google Classroom. I'd be happy to answer them. And this is my assistant, Miss Laney. She's shy, like Song Lee. So that's okay.